Breathing in, I know there is sunshine. Breathing out, I smile to the sunshine. J'inspire, je sais qu'il y a du soleil. J'expire, je souris à la lumière du matin. Breathing in, I know I am alive, still alive. Breathing out, I smile to life in me and around me. J'inspire, je sais que je suis vivante, encore vivante. J'expire, je souris à la vie en moi et autour de moi. Qu'elle est belle, la vie. Good morning, dear Sangha. Today is the 9th of July, 2014, and we are in the still water meditation hall of the Upper Hamlet, Plum Village, during our summer opening. Today we have a session of questions and answers. And those of us who have a question are invited to come here and sit around Thay. It's very beautiful from here. The Sangha is beautiful. And we will take turn to sit on that chair so that everyone can see us before we ask the question. And in the tradition, before we ask the question, we listen to the bell. And we practice breathing in and out 3 times with the sound of the bell, together with the whole community. And we know that a good question can benefit many people. Therefore, we should not ask questions about Buddhism. But about our practice, our suffering, our happiness, our difficulties. This is not a Buddhist a course of Buddhist studies. This is a retreat of mindfulness for transformation and healing. That is why no question about Buddhism. And that is why I have to ask the question of our heart, a question that has been there for a long time. Now it is the opportunity. And we know that a good question does not need to be very long. And the children have the opportunity to ask a few questions, 3 or 4. And after that, the teenagers will have the chance to ask their questions. And young people are encouraged to come and ask their questions. Teenagers and young adults. And then after that, we have the time for others to ask their questions. There are a few already written down, and from time to time we will read one of these questions. We may ask a question for the sake of a friend. You can even write down a question and ask someone to bring to Brother Plum. And if you do not speak English or French or German, you have to bring your own translator with you. If you ask a question in Chinese and then you have to bring a translator. So please, those who have a question, come up here. Children, teenagers, young adults. This is a very happy moment. So let us listen to the first sound of the bell, and after that, the first question.
Does she need to speak to Thay, or can Thay hear her just like that, without her needing to speak?
Sometimes we do not need to speak, and the other person may know what is going on and what we want. If the other person is attentive enough, mindful enough, concentrated enough. Suppose we are sad. There is something that makes us sad. We suffer. And we have not told the other person about our sadness, our suffering. But because the other person is mindful, that is why she or he noticed that there is something that does not go well with us. So you don't need to speak when the other person is very mindful, very concentrated. But if the other person is a little bit too busy, if the other person has a lot of worry and anger in him or in her, and then he or she cannot know what is going on in us, and we need to help him or her to know what is going on in us. We can say, Mother, Father, Brother, do you have 1 minute? I have something to tell you. Do you have some time for me? And then that may help. That may bring about mindfulness and attention to the other person. And then you have a chance to tell him or her what is going on in you and that you need some help. And the same thing is true with the other person. The other person, even if she is an adult, he is an adult, but from time to time they suffer, they have problems, they have difficulties. And if we are so busy, if we don't have the time, and then we don't know that they suffer. So if we practice mindfulness and concentration, and then we will be able to see that something is wrong in them. So we ask, Mother, Father, is there anything wrong? Can you tell me? And your attention, your concern, your desire to make the other person stop suffering, prove that you have love in yourself, you have compassion in yourself. So if we come to Plum Village and practice mindful walking, mindful breathing, and then we can cultivate that kind of attention, mindfulness, and we will be able to know what is going on in the people we love. And that is the practice of love. Love is to be there, to know what is happening in him or in her, so that you can be there to help him or her to suffer less and to have more joy. Thank you. Good question.
Everybody says that in life you have to have a happy life, but what is happiness? What does it mean?
Our friend asked that everybody says that we should have a happy life, that we should be happy in our lives, but what is happiness? What does happiness mean?
Happiness is possible. When you are happy, you enjoy. You enjoy the sunshine, you enjoy the trees, you enjoy the fresh air, you enjoy the people around you. And when you are not happy, you cannot enjoy. You see everything in a negative way. You don't appreciate what is there. When you are happy, you appreciate your body, your eye, your nose, your ear. And you appreciate the beauty of life that is around, that are around. There's so much beauty around. And in order for happiness to be possible, we know how to remove the obstacles that prevent happiness to happen. And that is anger, jealousy, fear, greed, irritation, and things like that. So happiness is possible, but sometimes if we don't know how to deal with our suffering, like anger, fear, jealousy, and then happiness cannot manifest freely. And that is why we should learn the way to take care of our anger, of our fear, of our irritation, of our jealousy, so that we allow happiness a chance to come. And a happy person can help other people to suffer less and to be happy also. If you are not happy, and then you cannot make another person happy. You have to be happy first. And you have to learn to be happy. Happiness is an art. Happiness is a kind of habit. There are people who have the habit of being happy because they have learned that habit. For these people, anything can make them happy, like the fresh air, the fresh water, the morning sunshine, the songs of the birds, the presence of friends. Many things can make them happy. And for those who do not know how to be happy, and then they don't appreciate these things at all. So there is the art of happiness. We have to learn to be happy. And together with that, there is the art of suffering. There is a way to suffer. If you know how to suffer, you suffer very little. And you do not allow suffering to stand on the way so that you can be happy. So when you come to Plum Village, we have an opportunity to learn from other people who have already learned and you have got a habit of being happy. Good question, Manasa. Maybe she needs a translator.
She would like to know why there is so much war. Why you come here?
Where is the war? Where do you see? In films of television. That is peace, not war.
A friend asked, when we die, where does our spirit go?
This is a very difficult question. The translation. Suppose you see a bird, a dead bird. In the morning, you see the bird is dead. And you ask whether the bird has a soul or a spirit, and you don't know where the bird is gone, the soul, the spirit of the bird has gone. And when a person, a human being, die. That person does not see, does not think, does not speak anymore. And you say that this person is dead. And you ask, where has he gone? And that question presupposes that there is a body and a spirit that can exist separately. You know, that the spirit can be without the body, and the body can be without the spirit. But the truth is that the spirit cannot be without the body. And the body cannot be without the spirit. Without the spirit, the body is a dead body. Without the body, the spirit cannot manifest. This is a little bit difficult, but if we try a little bit hard, we can understand. It's like this sheet of paper. You see that there's the two sides, the left and the right. And you know that the left is not the right. And the right is not the left. And you imagine that you can take the left away from the right. And the right from the left. If you ask a friend to come and take the right and bring it to Bordeaux, and another friend to come and take the left to Toulouse, it's not possible. It's impossible. And what we see is that the left and the right, we cannot take them away from each other. So the same thing is true with our spirit and our body. You cannot take the spirit out of the body and the body out of the spirit. In the Buddhist tradition, they say that the spirit has not gone anywhere. It just stopped manifesting in a way that you can see. Like when you strike a match, a flame is born, and the flame has not come from anywhere. The flame has not come from the west, the east, the north, or the south. Because conditions are sufficient, that is why the flame manifests, so that you can see. And when you blow out the flame does not go anywhere. The flame is not gone to the east or the west or the north or the south. Because of the lack of conditions, the flame just stopped manifesting. And if conditions are sufficient again, it manifests again. So the fact is that when someone dies, the spirit does not go anywhere. It's just stopped manifesting. and wait for conditions to be sufficient in order to manifest again. And that is true with everything. Not only a human being, but a tree or a stone. When you look at a cloud, and you know that someday the cloud will die, but to die means to become nothing. But a cloud can never become nothing. A cloud can become the rain or the snow. Because conditions are not sufficient, that is why the cloud stopped to be a cloud. And become the rain or the snow. So conditions are favorable for the rain and the snow to manifest. So one thing you can be sure of is that when conditions are sufficient, something manifests. And when conditions are no longer sufficient, something stops manifestation and manifests differently. So the cloud stops manifesting as a cloud and begin to manifest as the rain. So it looks like there is no death. It seems that there is only a transformation from one form into another form. And if you practice Buddhist meditation deeply, you find out that nothing can die. Everything can change. And but nothing can die. And there is a French scientist whose name is Lavoisier. He said it very clearly. Rien ne se crée, rien ne se perd. Nothing is born, nothing dies. Tout se transforme. Everything is changing. So that is one thing that scientists and practitioners of meditation, they agree with each other. Si on regarde, if we look in deeply, we see there is no real birth or death. There is only transformation. And if you keep learning and practicing, and then one day you will see it very clearly. How many questions already? Enough? 4 already. So now time for teenagers.
I'm often really overwhelmed by the magnitude of that suffering.
Sangha asked, our friend asked the question about suffering. She said there's so much suffering in the world, especially the suffering of animals. And this suffering is largely caused by us. And we're mostly not aware, we're not conscious of the suffering we're causing to all these animals. And their suffering is also connected to our suffering in terms of the environment, the damage caused to the environment by the farming, I guess, of animals, intensive farming, and also the damage to human health caused by consuming meat. So her question is, what is the most effective way to reduce the suffering of animals? And our friend shared that she already tries her best not to contribute to this suffering in her own way of living, but she still has the question in her meditation, what is the best way to reduce the suffering of animals?
When you suffer too much, you cannot help. Even if you have a big intention to help. And that is why trying to reduce suffering is something you do together with trying to be happy. Otherwise you lose the balance and you cannot help. First of all, we have to ask the question as, are we doing our best? Are we doing the best we can? With that kind of insight, there's so much suffering. And personally, am I doing my best not to contribute to the suffering by my way of life? The way you consume, the way you move around, the job that you have, all these things, have you tried to have them in such a way that you can reduce the suffering of animals in your daily life? If the answer is positive, then you have enough happiness to begin with and to continue. Make sure that you are doing it. And if you are doing it, you have faith, you have enough joy in order to help other people to see and to live the way you do. Your life is your message. And you know that in order to achieve something, you need a group of friends who share the same kind of vision, who can share the same way of living. And with such a community, we will succeed. And every great being in our society, they know that without the Sangha, they cannot realize their dream, their ideal. That is why building a community is a very important job. Alone, you cannot do it. You cannot realize your dream. That is why you should build a Sangha, a community. And that community help you to preserve your vision, to preserve your way of life that is harmless to others. Without a Sangha, you cannot continue for a long time, and your efforts too much effort as a person may make you tired, and you lose your practice. You lose your beautiful living style. That is why Sangha help you to continue to hold that vision, to continue that style of living, and then the Sangha help you to change the world by changing the way people think and see and live. The answer is Sangha. There is a written question. Thay, do you feel old? It's difficult to say yes or no because you won't understand. My practice is to see myself not only in this body, but to see myself out of this body. When I sit with a child, I feel very young because I am capable to see that I am also the child. The child is my continuation. During the 21-day retreat, we meditated a lot on the image of a kernel of corn and the young plant of corn. We know that the corn stalk has come from the kernel of corn. And looking deeply, we see that when the plant of corn is there, you do not see anymore the kernel of corn, but the kernel of corn continues to be present. It is in every cell of the plant of corn. So if we know how to look deeply like that, and then we see us not only inside of the kernel of corn, but also in the plant of corn. During the 21-day retreat, we try to see that we have more than one body. We have 8 bodies, and the cosmos is one of our body, called a cosmic body. When you look at the star, when you look at the trees, the river, the mountains, you see the cosmos. And it is the ground of your being. So a wave in the ocean has her cosmic, has her ocean body. Her body is a wave, but her body is at the same time the ocean. So if the wave recognizes her ocean body, she will see things very differently. So if you contemplate the stars, the sun, the moon, the earth, you see your cosmic body. And your cosmic body is quite old and quite young at the same time. So the fact is that I feel at the same time very old, much older than 90, and very young at the same time. So my answer is that I feel very, very old and very, very young.
My friends young and hard ably demonstrated, even little children know more. And my friends, as many are aware, Israel yesterday mobilized its troops in the wake of escalating violence between factions attached to the recent murder of several Israeli and Palestinian leaders, young men. Our question is, how do we most skillfully and directly practice with this kind of conflict in our life, our silence, and our world?
Our friend is asking a question about the escalating violence in Palestine. Yesterday, the Israeli army mobilized troops to go into Palestine as a result of several violent murders of Israeli and Palestinian youths in the last few weeks. So his question is, how do we practice in the most direct and skillful way in the face of such violence in our communities, in the world, in our sanghas?
We should obtain a right view about the situation, and we know that right view is not possible without right mindfulness and concentration. Right view about what? About the situation. In a relationship, in any kind of relationship, when you try to make the other person suffer because you believe that she or he has made you suffer, and you are the only one who suffers. The other person does not suffer. He or she just makes you suffer. And that is a view that gives rise to anger and the desire to punish. And that is not right view. Right view is that you suffer, that is the truth, but the other person suffers also. And the suffering in you and the suffering in the other person has the roots, not only in him or in her, but also in you. Both have been unskillful for a long time, and both have not learned the way to de-escalate anger and fear. And that is why to have the time to look deeply and to get the right view is very important. And right view you get more easily when you are able to handle the amount of fear and anger in you. If you are overwhelmed by fear and anger, it's not easy to get the right view. So to learn how to calm ourselves, we have more chance to have the right view. And the practice of mindfulness and concentration is the practice of calm. And when you can calm yourself, right view will come. And you see that responsible of the situation is our anger, our fear, our wronging about the situation. And if you don't know how to handle the anger, the fear in us and in the other person, in the other group of people, we cannot settle the problem. Many years ago, we in Plum have sponsored Palestinians and Israelis to come and practice with us. Here, in the upper Hamlet, in the lower Hamlet also. It's very difficult in the first few days. The two groups have different kind of views, and they have so much suffering and anger and suspicion in both groups. They suffer when they look at each other. They suffer when they talk to each other. That is why in the beginning we keep them separately, and we have them to practice mindful breathing, mindful walking, to help them calm down, to help them getting in touch with the wonders of life available in the here and now, so that they can be nourished, they can suffer less. And then we help them to recognize the anger, the fear inside, how to embrace them with mindfulness so that we can suffer less. And only after that we bring them together and ask them to practice listening to each other. And that is the practice of the fourth mindfulness training. Compassionate listening and loving speech. The two groups are sitting there, and many of us were sitting there also, and learn our mindfulness and calm and compassion. We sit and breathe. And then we invite one group to speak. And we have briefed them before that they have the right to tell everything in their heart. They should be able to tell the suffering they have undergone on their side. They can tell everything. But if they try, it would be better if they try not to condemn, not to blame, not to criticize. Because if they speak in that way, it's very difficult for the other side to listen. You have the right and the duty to tell the other side of all your suffering. The suffering endured by your children and your adults. Tell them everything. But speak in such a way that you can get the message across that we have suffered. And this is the suffering we have undergone. So you need to use gentle speech. Not blaming, accusing, blaming, and so on. So that helps the other person to understand. And then we have also briefed this group that while you listen, you have to listen with compassion, because on the other side they have suffered also, not only on this side. And if you know how to listen with compassion, you help them suffer less. you listen with concentration and mindfulness. And that is the practice of compassionate listening that has the power to help people to suffer less. So many of us who were not Israelis and Palestinians, we sit there and lend our energy of mindfulness and compassion. And right in the first session, something happened. When you listen and do not react, just listen, because the aim of listening is not anything except to help the other side, the other person to suffer less. That is why you listen, you don't interrupt, you don't correct the other person. Even if the other side says things that are not accurate, you tell yourself that my purpose now is just to listen and have the other person speak out, empty the heart. That is the purpose. As for the wrong things they say, the wrong perceptions they have, we have time next week. Next week we will choose an opportunity to tell, to provide them with informations that can help them correct their perceptions, not now. So with that in mind, you are calm. You don't interrupt them, you don't correct them. And by that way of listening, you help them to suffer less. And then right in the first session, this group recognized that on the other group, they have suffered very much the same way we have suffered on this side. And the first time you recognize that there are living beings, human beings like you, who have suffered exactly the same kind of suffering. And the first time you see them as human beings, and suddenly compassion is born in your heart. Before that, you thought that they don't suffer. Only you suffer, and they are making you suffer. You are only the victim. But now you see it differently. You see that they are also victims of their wrong perceptions. And they have suffered very much the same way our children and our adults have suffered. So that kind of notice make understanding born in your heart, and compassion is born. And when compassion is born in your heart, you begin to suffer less. You don't want to punish them anymore. You want to say something to help them suffer less. You want to offer them information that can correct their perceptions. And because compassion is born in your heart, you suffer much less. And you begin to look at them with the eyes of compassion. When you look like that, you don't suffer. And when they see you look at them like that, they don't suffer anymore. And that happened right in the first session of deep listening. We know that now, today we listen, but tomorrow they will listen to us. So we know that we are not in a rush. We have the time to practice. That is why we listen with all our heart. And that makes them suffer less. And that makes us understand their suffering. And transformation is taking place. Right in the first, and we continue like that for a week. And after that, the healing takes place. And both groups begin to share lunch and walk in meditation together. They even hold hands and walk together. And we witness to the transformation and healing every day. And on the last day of the retreat, they come together as one group, not two groups, and reported to us about their transformation and healing. And they always promise that when they go back to the Middle East, they organize retreats, sessions like that for others to come and practice and suffer less. We have a sangha there, and our monks and nuns go there every year in order to have organized retreats. So in order to not to continue the course of violence, we need to have right view. Right view is simple. Both of us, both sides suffer. And both sides are responsible, and not just one side. And we need the right view. We need a kind of practice that can help us handle our fear, our anger, and our suspicion, which are the foundation of violence and suffering. And many of us were not Israelis and Palestinians, but our presence did help and provide them with our collective energy of mindfulness and compassion. So if we succeed in small scale like that, we can succeed also in a big scale. And big nations can organize something like we have in Germany on a larger scale, because a peace negotiation should be conducted differently. If you come and you argue, you speak right away, you think that you can get a peace a roadmap for peace, you rely too much on your intellect, and you neglect the heart. So I think a good peace negotiation should include some Plumish practice. When the two warring parties come, they should be able to enjoy a number of days, walking quietly, sitting quietly, breathing, calming down, and to have the opportunity to see each other as human beings who have suffered before we begin the negotiation. So peace negotiation should be organized with elements of peace, and organizers, those who sponsor the negotiation, should have that kind of peace and right. And we can invite many people who have the capacity of being in peace, of having good insight to come and support us with their collective insight, not just the concerned parties. So I think that if we can succeed in a small scale, we can succeed also on a big scale. Please reflect on it.
constant pain in my head since 8 years. And this pain that is constantly there, it seems to be so, I don't know the word in English, in German it's durchdringend. It seems to be so penetrating, so it, when I look at the beautiful lotus flower, I see how beautiful this flower is, but still I'm in pain. And yeah, I'd like to know how I can acknowledge all this beauty in life with this pain at the same time.
Dear Thay, dear Sangha, I've been asked a question about chronic pain. Thay yesterday shared about how many conditions for happiness we have already present in our lives, and our friend was able to recognize that. But she says that she's had constant pain in her head for the last eight years, and it's very strong, very penetrating pain, so even though she can look at a lotus and see the beauty of it, the pain is present, is still there. So the question was, how can she learn to be in touch with the beauty, with the wonders of life, while the pain is present?
We also need to have right view. Right view. Because the pain, the suffering in us has a connection with the happiness. We should not think that suffering and happiness are two distinct, different entities. There is a deep connection between suffering and happiness. If you think that you can be happy only after you have removed all suffering, that's not. Suffering plays a certain role in making happiness. It's like the lotus and the mud. If you think that you have to remove all the mud in order for the lotus to be, you are wrong. The lotus needs the mud. The happiness needs suffering. And that is right view. And physical pain has to do with mental pain and wrong view. With right view, you can stop. You can stop and relax. And what is that right view? That right view is that happiness is possible now, even if the pain is still there. That's right. If you believe that happiness is possible only when you have removed the pain, that's not right. Sometimes our thinking, our way of thinking, wrong thinking, stand on the way and prevent the good things to arrive. So the dualistic way of thinking is not helpful. At least, first of all, you have to accept your pain, accept the suffering in you. And once you have accepted it, you have more peace. And your capacity of being happy will increase. Your capacity of stopping the course of running your capacity to stop longing for something in the future. Your capacity to see that happiness is possible in the here and now help you to stop and to be with whatever is there in order to be truly happy. You say that intellectually you know that the lotus is beautiful, but there is something standing on the way preventing you to get in touch with the lotus. And what is that something? That's the wrong view. That's the inability to stop, to calm down. We know that a physical pain is is connected with our way of thinking, our habit of living our daily life. I think the first thing we should learn is how to relax, how to come home to the here and the now. Because the energy of habit is very strong in us. The tendency to run and look for something, including happiness, is very strong in us. And that habit energy of running and looking for something may have been transmitted to us by our parents and ancestors. And if we recognize that habit of running, we'll be able to stop and relaxation becomes possible. And when you are relaxed, the pain in you will be reduced. The pain is in function of the tension. If you can reduce the tension in your body, you can relax and you can reduce the pain. And to relax, right view. And that right view we have repeated several times. That happiness is not in the future, it is right here and right now. And we are doing many things that are not useful, that only take away our energy, that does not allow us to be established in the here and the now. So the practice of mindful walking, mindful breathing, very helpful. They help you to stop running. We recognize our habit of running, and by walking like that, you can stop and you can touch the present moment with all its wonders. This is the problem of training. I think a few hours of practice can make already a difference. Walk in such a way that you can go home to the here and now with every step. You know you can do it. Everyone can do it. With our will and our insight. The insight is that life is available only in the present moment. The past is already gone. The future is not yet there. So you go home to the here and the now. With every breath, with every step. That is the basic training. And if you can stop with your steps and your breathing, and then relaxation becomes possible. and the pain reduces, and you begin to touch the wonders of life that can be healing and nourishing. And you can make good use of the collective energy of the group around you. There are those of us who are capable of stopping and touching the wonders of life in the here and now. You walk with us, you breathe with us, and you inherit from, you profit from the collective energy of mindfulness and joy. So you can enjoy your in-breath, you can enjoy your out-breath, you can enjoy your steps. You have your right view, you have your good will. You can make a step and make sure that peace is possible in that step. When you make a step, you can print you can mark the ground with the sign of peace. Peace is possible with every step. If you really want to have peace, if you want very much to have peace, and with every step you can bring the sign of peace on the ground, provided that you really want it. And that's the most important thing. That is the thing you want the most, peace. Because happiness is not possible without peace. Peace is every breath. Peace is every step. That is your practice. Challenge yourself and make peace possible with every step, with every breath. You have lungs in good condition. You have the fresh air. You can enjoy breathing in. And peace and joy are possible with one in-breath. Many of us are doing that every day. Peace is every step. Peace is every breath. And if you have peace, you have joy. And that is my practice, my daily practice. When I go to sleep, after having put out the light, the first thing I do is to concentrate on my in-breath. I don't think anymore. I do not think anymore. I stop my thinking. I just focus my attention on my in-breath and out-breath. And my practice is to find peace and joy in every breath until I go to sleep. I sink into the sleep. No thinking. And at midnight, if I wake up, I remember to go back to my in-breath and out-breath and do not think. And just enjoy my in-breath and out-breath. This is a very, very basic practice. So during the day, you don't see walking from your tent to the meditation hall. Enjoy every step. Make sure that every step has peace in it. You have to stop running in order to have peace in every step. And if the practice deepens, you can touch the kingdom of God in every step. Otherwise, you will waste your life. Learn to live your life deeply. And that is the power of mindfulness, concentration and insight. And remember, even if you still have pain, sorrow, anger in you, peace is possible, joy is possible also. It's like in the morning you get 10 letters. And there may be one or two letters that need you to solve, difficult to solve. But there may be other letters that are telling you good things, that has love and trust and so on. So the letter of business, of difficulties are there. But while you read this letter, you enjoy completely this letter. And when the time comes for you to solve the problem of other letter, you solve it. So you learn both how to generate joy and peace and happiness, and how to handle suffering. And the two things go together. If you know how to do this, and then you will know how to do that. And that are two aspects of the practice. Generating joy and happiness, managing, handling suffering. And right view includes the vision that suffering has a role to play. If you know how to handle suffering, understanding and compassion and love will be more. And that is the foundation of happiness, understanding of suffering. And compassion that arises from understanding. So it is in the mud that the lotus draw is beauty and fragrance. It is in your suffering that you can draw peace and happiness. Stop thinking in the dualistic way.
Our friend asked a question about intuition. She shared that when she feels the most mindfulness and the most peace, she gets in touch with a kind of force inside. She feels an energy inside, and if she allows herself to go along with that force, then she finds that she meets the people that she's supposed to meet, or finds the situations that she's supposed to find. And her question is, what is this force? What is this intuition? Is it is it a coincidence, or is there some meaning in it? And does Thay experience this as well?
What kind of intuition?
What kind of intuition?
What is the object of intuition? What do you see?
I don't see it. I just feel that I just feel the urge to go to a place or to do one thing, which leads me to discover something that I need to know. I don't know how to explain it.
We know that mindfulness is always mindfulness of something. When you are mindful of something. And your mind has an object. And you cannot be mindful of several things at the same time. You are mindful only of one thing. And therefore you are concentrated on it. And then you begin to discover. You begin to discover the very depth, in the very depth of the object of your mindfulness and concentration. Suppose you are concentrated on a flower, and the flower becomes the only object of your mind of mindfulness, mind of concentration. And since you focus only on the flower, you begin to see in depth the nature of the flower. You can discover many things relating to the flower. You can see many things coming together in order to make a flower manifest. You can see the clouds that make the rain. You can see the sunshine that help the flower to grow. You can see the air, the gas. You can see time, space. You can see the beauty. You can see the whole cosmos supporting the flower to manifest. But anything you see is related to flower because you have mindfulness, concentration and insight. And the flower is the object of your mindfulness, of your concentration, of your insight. That kind of insight about the flower can bring you a lot of happiness, can put you in touch with the wonders of life represented by the flower. And if you want, you can preserve that kind of concentration, mindfulness and insight in order to nourish your happiness. And you might touch the nature of no birth and no death and dissipate your fear and so on. So if you are really practicing mindfulness, concentration and insight, and there is no dispersion in your mind. And the intuition that you got is the right intuition. That intuition is about the flower. Because you have seen in depth the nature of the flower. Because intuition is always intuition of something. the subject and object. And intuition here must be mindfulness, concentration, and insight. The object of intuition is what you see in the flower. You see the flower in depth. You see the cosmos, body of the flower. You see the nature of no birth and no death of the flower. But not something outside. If it is truly mindfulness, concentration, and insight, and you always remain with the same object, and nothing else can penetrate into that. And if your concentration, the object of your mindfulness and concentration and insight is your anger or your fear, so that anger and fear is a kind of flower also. It's become the object of your mind. And as you only focus your attention on your anger, on your fear, you begin to explore and see in depth the nature of your anger and your fear. And if you have seen in depth the nature of your anger and your fear, that insight will dissolve the anger and the fear. Because the mindfulness, concentration, and insight always have an object. And if you continue to look into that object, it will bring you happiness and liberation. And the same thing is true when you meditate on what we consider to be negative, like our suffering, our pain, our anything. Because mindfulness and concentration and insight help us to understand in depth that affliction and help us liberate from that kind of afflictions. Clear enough? Dear friends, after this we will have walking meditation. And make sure that every step produces stopping. Be sure that every step has peace in it. And you bring your peace and your joy on the ground. And you can be in touch with the pure land of the Buddha, the kingdom of God. Especially when we know how to profit from the collective energy of the Sangha. Practicing walking in the kingdom of God is quite a joy. It's quite a practice.